So now what is the structure of our ear? So when we look at the ear, we can basically divide it into three parts. The outer part, the middle part, and then the inner ear. The outer ear is basically what you can see. So your ear and the canal that's inside. The middle ear is more complicated, and it's made up of these 3-4 things. And then the inner ear is even more complicated, which consists of a cochlea and semicircular canals. Now, please note, I am not going to give you all of the medical history or anything like that. We are just going to talk about them in terms of physics and in terms of what waves do. So if you want to know all the details about all the muscles and everything, that's a couple of chapters in a medical textbook. We're not going to go into that much detail. So the outer ear consists of a pinna, that is your ear, and then it consists of an auditory canal. I want you to try something. I want you to try to focus my sound on your ear by holding your ears out. So I'm going to say something and then hold your ears out. I'm going to continue to say the things. Hold your ears out and see how much you can hear. Did it just get louder? How much louder? Like quite a bit, right? It got louder and quite a bit, and I'll take it away. And I'm using the same sound. I've not changed it. Yeah? Does it get any different? Now try it again. One more time. Try it again. So this is basically shaped in a cone shape so you could collect more and more and more. On the other hand, your canal, which is this one, the auditory canal that we always try to clean and stuff, that actually has a very important purpose. It is basically a resonance tube. Do you guys remember when we were talking about seashells? And we said that the seashells have that canal that take a particular frequency that's in the room and it resonates it and makes it bigger. This is a very special kind of canal, which doesn't have one resonance spot. It has a resonance spot between 2,000 to 5,000 hertz. So basically it has a resonance for that much range of hertz coming in. Fascinating. So humans have developed this very functional canal where seashells only have one resonance. We have a range of resonances and transmit sound on the inside. Now you may be wondering, if humans can hear up to 20,000 hertz, why is this limited to 5K? There is a very good reason. Evolutionary standpoint, loud noises are maybe 200 years old. Industrial Revolution, 16th, 17th, 18th century. That's when we started experiencing loud noises more than like 10,000 K or something, like jackhammers and stuff. Before that, humans did not need to be exposed to loud noises. Like the worst thing they could do was like an animal hunting them or like a group of people chanting or something. In evolutionary terms, we did not develop the things that were needed to prevent loud noises. Whereas, look at our eyes. Do you think we have protection for our eyes? What are they called? What's the protection called? Eyelids. Humans have eyelids. Why? Because there is a probability that we will be going out in the sunshine. It will be really shiny at some points. You know, there will be reflection from places where sudden, sounds could be formed, and also we needed to sleep. So we developed eyelids, and other animals also developed eyelids so they could actually prevent their eyes. But ears, it's only 200 years old. We have not had time or the need to develop ears that close. So that is why our ears are shaped this way. Also, if you notice that our ears are shaped so we will get like sounds mostly from everywhere. Next step is what is called the middle ear. The middle ear has your eardrum. Your eardrum is a fascinating thing. Remember how we were talking about standing waves? And we said the standing waves need nodes at the end in order for them to vibrate. But then we also started talking about Cladini plates in which there were nodes and multiple nodes, so they could respond to multiple frequencies. Our eardrums are basically standing wave capable muscles, but way more complicated than anything that we construct, because they respond to all kinds of frequencies coming in, all kinds of pressure waves coming in. And then we have these three muscles called the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup, whose main function is to transmit external sounds into our brain, towards our brain. But nature has given us this amazing ability, in which case, if there was a sound, a loud noise that came in that we couldn't prevent, guess what would happen? The three bones that are responsible for taking that noise to the brain, do you know what they do? They tense up. They say, oops, this is too loud and it's going to cause me harm. So the hammer moves away from your eardrum, because the eardrum is vibrating. So the hammer moves away, which makes the stirrup also move away, and no sound gets transmitted. That is our natural body's reaction to a sound that's louder than what our brains can handle. And it's so funny because these muscles are connected to each other, and suddenly they're like, nope, too much noise. I'm just going to move away. So no vibration will go through, or very little vibration will go through. That prevents damage in lots of scenarios. Oh, and then this is what they look like, right? So this is the eardrum. That's the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. So this moves away, and this moves away, and it says, nope, not transmitting that sound. But immediately afterwards, it goes back to its original state. The only problem is I believe that there's a small time delay. And so some sound will get to you and you'll immediately, but that's also a good thing because that's a reaction that it allows humans to cover their ears or take other precautions. Right? So you do need some sound to go through. It's like, oh, danger, run away. Now the inner ear is the most complex of all of the ears. It is consistent of semicircular canals, which are these ones, and the cochlea. So the semicircular canals are very important to balance. And then the cochlea converts the sound waves to nerve impulses that your brain then recognizes as sound. Cochlea is filled with two liquids called the perilymph and the endolymph. Basically, have you ever tried to spin round and round and round and round? What happens when you do that? You get dizzy, right? Why do you get dizzy? The reason why you get dizzy is because these two liquids are there for your balance. And when these two liquids start, like going like in a, like when you turn around too much, these two liquids start, what's that word called? Swirling. Thank you. And your brain doesn't know it's up from the down anymore. And so the brain is like, something's going on and I don't understand it. And that's why you fall. If you do it too much, your instinct is, your brain is telling your body, I don't understand. I'm probably going to fall. So I should make myself fall so I hurt less. And that's the instinct that we all humans have, even when we're very, very little. The good part about the way our body is constructed is that settles down pretty quickly. It's thick and heavy, so it needs a lot to get it to start. And then also, remember inertia, and we were talking about how viscous fluids don't flow much. It comes to rest pretty quickly. Okay, the other very important thing about our ears is that these two liquids are separated by two membranes, which are called the Renciers and the basilar membranes. The Rencier membrane is about 2 cells thick. It's very, very tiny. But the important part for us is called the basilar membrane. And what the basilar membrane does is it's long and thin, and it has more tension on one side and less tension on the other side. So when a sound wave comes in, some part of the membrane will actually start to vibrate in response. Usually, the high frequency one, actually, look at this picture. This area will get to vibrating in response to high frequency waves coming in. This is for low frequency, and this is for medium frequency. But we don't have a very clear distinction between the low and the highs, and we'll talk about critical bands next time. Think about it as a drum, but instead of being a round drum, think of it as a long, thin drum. And every part of that actually starts to vibrate depending on the sound that's coming in. And then they have like little tiny hairs on top of it with neurons attached. And that's what's taking the signal to your brain and telling it there's a sound coming, and now I have to interpret that. So between the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear, there are so many things that have to go properly for you to hear. So you don't actually hear in your ear, you actually hear in your brain. That's why those implants, right? People whose ears don't work, they do an implant outside with the electrodes on into their brain. And that's how they hear. They just bypass the ear because you don't hear in your ear. You actually hear in your brain.